Okay. So, are you medics or dentistry?
I'm medic.
You're medic, and you've passed it on Nick?
No.
Oh, you said no, sir. But I heard you were a good student,
Yeah.
and you were unlucky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't memorize.
And how many?
I don't used to memorize origin and insertion of muscles. That's why.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's okay, yeah. But how many practices have you had so far?
3. Today is the 4th one.
Yeah, and who's your practice teacher?
Claudia.
Okay. Okay. And should I start from beginning? Like, because you said start from heart, but heart has blood vessels, veins, and you can't just say this is atrium, this is ventricle. So you should know where the arteries come from, where the veins drain to. So it would be difficult just to jump to the heart,
The thing I mean, I don't have my atlas. You said just bring your atlas. Now when I look, I found my atlas with Mustafa. You know Mustafa. You're giving him the tuition yesterday.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
So no problem. I can do it. I have my book. No problem.
Which book?
The essential. I can look the picture.
Oh yeah. You can look at more. Yeah. We do that. Okay, so and what about the vertebra? Do you know what's the difference between vertebra, ribs, how many ribs, what is true, false, floating? Have you done this in upper limb before?
I did it last year, but I don't think I remember all of it.
Yeah, okay, so we do it quickly together, okay?
Right.
So the schedule is today we do vertebra, join all the bones that we have in the thoracic wall.
Right.
And then next lesson today we also do muscles. Then we do arteries, veins of the wall, and then breast, and then we go to the cavity, we do mediastinum, then we do lung, heart, and then we do okay, and then we go through topic list together.
Right.
So you prepare for the exam. Okay, so let me share my screen. And I just turn off my camera if it is okay, because then you get a better connection.
All right. Yeah, because it's...
Yeah. So, do you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we start from ribcage. If it, I explain, if it is any question or any problem, just ask me, okay?
All right.
And next time, in the next lesson, I ask you everything. So you should know whatever I say 100%.
All right.
Good?
Good.
Okay. So let's start with the rib cage. Do you know what it is? What are these?
This is the sternum.
Yeah, very good. Here, this is the sternum. What do you have on the sides?
The ribs.
Yeah, and what do you have posteriorly?
The vertebra.
Very good. You have vertebral column, which is made of vertebra. These are bones, and it makes the skeleton of the thoracic cavity. It's called rib cage. For example, we have a skull, which gives support to the brain. Here we have rib cage, which gives support to the organs. Okay, so we have a sternum, ribs, and what is the Latin name for rib?
I don't know.
Cost.
Cost, yeah.
Cost. Yeah. And how do you call these cartilages?
Sternocostal joints?
No,
ligaments?
joint, it's where they meet.
Yeah.
This is called costal cartilage.
Cartilage, yeah.
So the ribs are till here, and the rest is cartilage, which is attached to the sternum. It's called costal cartilage, cartilage of the rib.
All right.
Let's go through bones one by one. First, sternum. Sternum, what kind of bone is it? We have short bone, long bone, flat bone. They ask you, what kind of bone is a sternum?
Is it flat?
Very good. It's a flat bone, yeah. And it has three.
I'm not hearing you. Hello?
Do you hear me?
Now I hear you. No.
I call you back.
All right.
Hey.
Hey.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the first part. It's called manubrium.
Manubrium, yeah.
Manubrium has different parts. This is called. How do you call here?
I don't remember all of it.
Jugular notch.
Yeah, jugular notch, yeah.
Show me your jugular notch. Exactly. So here you have jugular notch, which is about. Okay. And here you have a fossa or articular surface. What is it for?
Clavicle, where the...
Yeah. It's called clavicular notch, and it's for clavicle. Here you get a sternoclavicular joint. If you consider manubrium, you go from manubrium backward, you reach the vertebrae, right or not?
If I go back?
Yeah,
because...
Exactly. So you should know which vertebrae you reach. Manubrium is at the level of T3, T4.
Okay.
Okay, do you have my notes?
Yeah.
Okay, so manubrium is at the level of T3 to 4. It's important. Then we have body. This is body. Body is at the level of T5 till T9.
T9 or T10?
T9 to 10. It's 9 usually.
Okay.
And then xiphoid process is at the level of T10.
Okay.
Do you know what is xiphoid process? What is it made of?
No.
It's cartilage.
Okay.
And it ossifies. It will be bony really late in adulthood, like when you're around 40 years old.
Okay.
Okay? So sternum has 3 parts. Manubrium, body, xiphoid process. Between these parts you have joint. This is one joint between manubrium and body, and this is one joint between xiphoid process and body. How do you call this joint? Manubrio-sternal joint. And this is called xiphi-sternal joint. Right? Manubrio-sternal and xiphi-sternal. Yeah?
Alright.
What type of joints are these? They're cartilaginous type of joint. What does that mean, cartilaginous type of joint? Do you know what does it mean?
They contain cartilage, like they have...
Yeah, so they have cartilage. They're covered by cartilage. And when you have cartilaginous type of joints, the movements are really limited. You don't have a lot of movements. If somewhere you have synovial joint, then you have movement. So here it's cartilaginous type of joint. You can't move it.
You can't.
Okay?
Alright.
So, do you see here where you have manubrio-sternal joint?
Yeah.
This is called a sternal angle or angle of Lewis.
Okay.
Where is it? Where do you think? It's at the level of which T?
T1? T2.
So we said,
T2.
listen, we said manubrium is T3 to T4.
To T4.
So here is T4.
Yeah, T4, yeah.
Then body starts from T5 to T9.
Nine.
So where is here?
It's T4.
T4, T5. It's between intervertebral disc of T4, T5, okay?
Okay.
So a sternal angle or angle of Lewis is at the level of T4, T5. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Okay, I tell you a clinical thing. Do you know what is bone marrow biopsy? You know, there's some place in our body which, if they want to see the number of blood cells,
Yeah.
for example, in case of cancer or in case of bone marrow transplantation, they can take biopsy. They can take sample. One of these bones is body of the sternum. So from body of the sternum, they can take bone marrow biopsy.
Alright.
Clear?
Clear.
Do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
No? Okay, let's go to the ribs. If you can bring in your book, ribs. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, how many pairs of ribs do we have?
12?
Very good. We have 12 pairs. So that means 24, 12 on each side.
I'm not hearing you.
What it is, this one.
I'm not hearing you.
What? Yeah, is it good now? No?
No.
Yeah, it's about. Maybe you can also turn off your camera.
Okay.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes, yes.
And do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So here you have 12 pair of ribs. We divide the ribs into 3 categories. True ribs, false ribs, and floating ribs. Do you know what the difference is?
No.
No?
No.
True ribs are the upper 7th ribs. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why do you think we call them true ribs? Because they're attached directly to the sternum by their costal cartilage. Look, this is costal cartilage, and through their costal cartilage, they are attached to the sternum. One and half of the second one are attached to manubrium. From 2nd to 7th are attached to body, and no rib is attached to xiphoid process. Okay? So 1 to 7 are true ribs. Why? Why do we call them true?
Because they are connected directly to the sternum.
Very good, by their costal cartilage.
Costal.
False rib, they're 8, 9, 10. Look, till here was 7. This is 7. So 8, 9, 10. Why do we call them false rib? Because they don't have direct attachment to the sternum. They attach by their cartilages to the cartilage of 7th rib.
Okay.
So 8, 9, 10, they're attached to 7th rib by their costal cartilage, so no attachment to a sternum. And this joint between the cartilages is synovial joint. It means you have a bit movement between these cartilages.
Okay.
The third category is called floating rib. Do you know what does floating means in English?
Yeah. Floating.
Yeah. So number 11 and 12, if you look at these two, they don't have any attachment. They don't have any anterior attachment. That's why they call floating ribs.
All right.
Right? And what do you think? Like here, this is called thoracic wall. Does all this wall belong to your thorax?
No.
No. So what?
Something to the abdomen?
Very good. So you know diaphragm, which separates thorax from abdomen, it goes in. It's somewhere here. We will go through later. So here it belongs to abdomen. So 11th and 12th, which are floating ribs, they're in the abdominal musculature. They're inside the muscles of abdomen. They're not in thorax.
So around number 10 is the diaphragm.
Around like from level 6, around 6.
Okay.
Diaphragm attached here. Okay. So here is abdomen. 11 and 12, they're in abdominal musculature. Musculature means muscle. So they're not in thorax. Okay, this was the categorization. Then if you look at the shape of the ribs, we divide them into 2 groups. We say typical and atypical. Typical, it means all the ribs look like this. This is typical rib. Yeah. What are the parts of the rib? Here you have head. On the head you see 2 articulation surface. It means 2 joints. It has 2 articular fossa. So this is head. Then here you have neck. Here you have tubercle. Here again you have another articulation surface. Then the whole thing is called shaft or body. Inferiorly you have a groove which is called costal groove. Do you know what is it for?
Is it because Is it where we
It's
connect it with the sternum like? No,
no.
no, no, no.
The groove is for artery, vein, and nerve. We said intercostal vein, artery, nerve.
Okay.
So the blood vessels are in this groove.
Okay.
And here is the end. What attached to here?
Is it the? Is the one? Of
So look at this
vertebral
end. It's
to the
flat.
vertebra?
What?
Is it to the vertebra?
No. Look at this. This is flat. And you see this flat part here.
Okay. Ah, okay.
So
Okay.
it attached to the costal
Costal
cartilage,
cartilage.
and this cartilage attached to the sternum.
Okay.
So be careful. This flat part comes anteriorly in our body.
Okay. Okay.
So where is the head? The head is attached posteriorly. It is the head which is attached to the vertebra.
Okay.
So I turn on my camera a bit. Do you see me?
Yeah.
So the head is attached to the vertebra. Then it makes a curvature here. It comes anteriorly, and through a cartilage it is attached to a sternum.
All right.
This curvature which you see here, this is called angle.
Angle. Okay.
And it's really prone to fracture.
Okay.
Okay, so this is typical rib. Then we have atypical. It means some ribs, they don't look like this. For example, the first rib. This is the first one. What's the difference between first rib and typical ribs?
The angle, like the body is shorter,
Very good. It is shorter and it's a bit wider.
wider. Yeah.
On the head, you have one articular surface, but here we had two.
Two. And the tubercle no.
What? You have tubercle.
Yeah, you have tubercle. Yeah.
Yeah. And here, if you look, you have two fossa. Do you see?
Yeah.
If I tell you this rib is under the clavicle, it means you cannot palpate your first rib. If it is under the clavicle, then what are these two fossa for?
For arteries.
Very good, for subclavian
For
artery
artery
and
and
subclavian vein.
All right.
Do you see these two blue things, blue color?
Yeah.
They're insertion of two muscles. There are two muscles in the neck which insert to the first rib. Do you know which muscles are?
Saline muscle.
Very good. A scalene anterior and a scalene middle. They insert to the first rib, and a scalene posterior is to the second rib.
All right.
So this was first rib. It's atypical. This is second rib. It's also atypical. Doesn't look like this. So what's the difference?
This is like this. It's the second one.
Yeah.
Is it the red one? You know where the artery and the muscle is different, like the location.
What? Say it again.
Where
This blue and red, it's not artery and vein.
yeah, it's the place where they pass or the.
No. Do you see this fossa here,
Yeah.
and here?
Yeah. Okay.
This is for artery and vein, okay?
Okay.
But the blue and red, this is for origin and insertion of muscles. It does have nothing to do with artery and vein.
Yeah. Okay.
Scalene anterior and middle insert here.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And here, this is secondary. What's the difference between this rib and this one? If you look at it, it is less curved, right? This is really curved. This is less curved, and it's thin. Here, in reality, if you look at the second rib, it has a rough surface. Okay. It's called tuberosity of serratus anterior. Do you know what is serratus anterior?
It's the muscle.
Very good. So it originates from here and here.
Okay.
The muscle starts from here.
Okay.
Okay? Right. So number 1, 2, and then 10 to 12 ribs, they also atypical because they also have one articular surface on the head.
Okay.
Okay? But the rest of the ribs look like that.
All right.
Is it clear?
Yes.
When we have the ribs, what do they do? What do the ribs do?
They bony, maybe they protection for the organs.
Very good. One is protection. What else? Just brief. When you breathe, the ribs move. What happens to the rib? They go up and down, elevate and depress, right?
Yes, for the lungs, so they increase the internal surface, the internal area of the.
Very good. How do they increase? If you look at the ribs, if they were from posterior to anterior straight like that, do you see?
Yeah.
If they were straight, so elevation and depression, does it increase the area here?
No.
No. So the ribs, they're like that. They go downward. If the head is here, then anterior it goes downward. So if elevate and depress, do they increase the area?
No.
They do. Look. If they're like this, right? This diameter is bigger.
Okay.
If they like that, it gets smaller, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if they were straight, you don't have any change. But because they're oblique, they like that. They go downward.
Downward, they increase.
Yeah, exactly. So elevation and depression, they change.
All right.
It changes. Okay. The space between the ribs, it's called intercostal space.
Okay.
For example, where is the first intercostal space? Between which ribs?
1 and 2.
Very good. So you do a plus 1 and 2, it gives you first intercostal space. Where is the fifth intercostal space? Between which ribs?
5 and 6.
Very good. So they ask these questions, 5 and 6. Where is the 12th intercostal space?
There is no 12.
Very good. There is no 12 because we don't have 13 ribs. That's why under the 12th rib, it's called subcostal space. It's not called intercostal. It's called subcostal.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
And do you see here, between the cartilages of the 10th to 7th rib on each side?
Yeah.
This area.
Yes.
This is called subcostal angle.
Okay.
Okay? This is called subcostal angle.
Okay.
Do you have any questions from ribs and sternum?
No. Thanks.
Sure?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the vertebra. Is it fast or is it slow or is it good?
Yeah, it is good.
Good? Okay.
Yeah.
Here we have vertebral column. The whole thing is called vertebral column. It's made of vertebrae.
Okay.
What does this vertebral column do? What is inside the vertebral column?
We have the transverse. We have arteries, nerves.
What is inside the column, like all the way here?
Artery, the vertebral artery.
Oh, no.
No, there is a space.
Yeah, but what is inside here? What do we have inside the vertebral column? We have a spinal cord.
Yeah, spinal cord. Yeah.
Do you know what is a spinal cord?
Like I know it's inside the vertebral column.
And do you know what it is?
No.
Look, we get the nerves of our body. You know what is nerve?
Yeah.
Okay, we get our nerves from two places in our body.
Yeah.
We get it from brain.
Cranial.
Yeah, very good. Which are cranial nerves. We have 12. And we get it from a spinal cord. Do you see from brain? You have something which is called a spinal cord and goes all the way down.
Yeah.
And in the body, you get from a spinal cord nerves. They usually form plexus. They're not separate nerves, right? Like cranial nerves.
Yeah.
For example, you've heard cervical plexus, brachial plexus. You get it from part of a spinal cord, which is in the neck. It gives cervical plexus or brachial plexus, right?
Right.
The brain is protected by a skull, and the spinal cord is protected by vertebral column.
All right.
So spinal cord, it gives you nerves. Here we have different parts of vertebra. We say cervical, we show with C. Thoracic with T. Lumbar with L. And sacrum with S. And we have coccyx. Okay? How many cervical vertebrae do we have?
I don't know these things.
We have 7.
Okay.
7 vertebra.
Okay.
How many thoracic do we have? 12.
Okay.
How many lumbar? 5.
5.
How many sacral? We have 5 vertebrae which are fused together and they form one bone which is called sacrum. So this is sacrum which is made of 5 fused vertebrae. Usually they ask, how do you know it's been 5? Do you see the foramens here?
Yes.
Do you see?
Yes.
How many foramen do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the last one is open. Do you see?
Yeah.
Because there is no more vertebra to close this foramen. So it's been 5 vertebra which are fused.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have coccyx which are not really developed and it has variation. It can be 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Okay. So how many cervical vertebrae do we have?
12.
Cervical, it means in the neck.
I don't remember. Like
7. How many thoracic?
12. One of
How many? 12.
Yeah.
How many lumbar?
5.
How many sacral?
5.
Which are fused and form sacrum. Good. Okay. So now we're gonna go through vertebrae one by one.
Okay.
Okay, for example, just imagine this is one vertebra.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All the vertebrae, they have body. Do you see this part?
Yes, body.
This is called body of vertebra. What do you think? Is the body anteriorly in our body or posteriorly?
Is it posteriorly?
So, look. We have vertebrae here, right?
Yes.
Vertebral column. If you touch, is it soft or you have some elevations and depressions?
There's elevation and depression.
Yeah, so if body was posteriorly, it was round and soft, you can touch these. So body is anteriorly. Look.
Okay.
It means if you remove the organs in the thoracic cavity, you see the body. Do you see this body?
Yes.
Body is anteriorly and these processes, they are posteriorly.
Alright.
Okay? So all the vertebrae, they have body. Here, you see, this is called arch.
Okay.
On each side of arch, this is called lamina.
Okay.
Here, this is called pedicle. So lamina and pedicle, they form arch. So here, first you have pedicle, is like little foot. Then you have lamina here.
Okay.
In the middle, we have a foramen. It's called vertebral foramen. What do you think? What passed through this?
Spinal?
Very good, a spinal cord. So in the vertebral foramen, we have a spinal cord. Then we have processes. Look, there are some projections which are going out. These are called process. We have on sides 2 transverse process or lateral process.
Okay.
And posteriorly, we have a spinous process.
Okay.
Then we have some articulation surface. Do you know what this articulation means?
Yeah, it's where like there's connection, like what?
Exactly. So if you have one vertebra, how many articular surface do you need? This is one vertebra. How many articular surface do you need?
We need 2.
You need 4. 1 above, 1 below, and then you need on each side.
Yeah.
So it means 2 superiorly, 2 inferiorly. You need 4.
Alright.
Okay?
Okay.
So let's look at the vertebrae one by one and see what are the differences. Let's look at a cervical vertebra. How many cervical vertebrae do we have?
7.
Very good, 7. Here we again, like the ribs, we divide them into typical and atypical. When you say typical, it means all the cervical vertebrae look like this.
Okay.
Cervical, it means they're in the neck.
Okay.
So what is this?
Body.
Very good. What is this?
Lamina.
Very good. What is here?
The
Pedicle.
pedicle. Yeah.
What is this process?
The
You have to transverse process. Very good. Which goes laterally. And what is this? A spinous process, which goes posteriorly. So this is what you can touch.
Yeah.
Okay, then in the transverse process, just in the cervical vertebra, be careful, you don't have in thoracic and lumbar vertebrae, just in cervical vertebra. In the transverse process, you have a foramen. It's called transverse foramen. What is it for? You said before.
Spinal?
A spinal is here. A spinal cord is in the
arteries.
Which artery?
A vertebral artery.
Very good. Do you remember vertebral artery goes into the transverse foramen from C6 up till C1?
Yeah, then to the foramen magnum.
Very good, yeah. So this is for vertebral artery, and you just have in cervical vertebra.
Yeah.
So this is one difference between cervical vertebra and other vertebra, that the transverse process has a foramen, which is called transverse foramen.
Yeah.
Look at the spinous process. It's split into two. We said it is bifurcated. So a spinous process is bifurcated.
Yes.
Look at the body. Body is quadrangular in shape.
Yeah.
Vertebral foramen is triangular in shape.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Okay, so these are the differences. This is typical. Then we have atypical cervical vertebra. C1, C2, and C7 are atypical. How do you call C1?
Atlas.
Atlas. This is atlas. It's atypical. Doesn't look like this. What are the differences?
The vertebral foramen has different shape.
Yeah, so it's big. But why? Something is missing. Something is missing that the foramen.
The posterior. The spinous process.
Body is missing.
I can't hear you.
Process missing and body.
I can't hear you. Hello? Hello?
Hey?
Hey?
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, but I can't see you. Yeah.
Yeah, do you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So if you look, the body, this is body. Body is missing in atlas.
Yeah.
So no body, and a spinous process is also missing. Yeah?
Yeah.
Is the connection bad or is it good now?
It's bad.
Don't you hear me now?
I can't hear you well. Hello?
Can you hear me?
No?
No?
I'm not hearing you well, like it's bad connection.
Yeah. Let me check. Do you know any other program that we can share screen?
No.
No?
No.
So I find something in the afternoon, okay?
What?
I find another program in the afternoon.
Okay.
So, do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so in case of atlas, body is missing and the spinal process is missing.
Okay.
In atlas, you also have two superior articular surface and two inferior. What does the superior one attach to? Where
The
does
skull?
it attach to? Yeah, which part of the skull?
From magnum occipital, the
Occipital condyles, and we
Condyles.
get atlanto-occipital
Condyles
joint.
joint.
What about the inferior one? Where does it attach to?
the second
Very good. How do you call the second cervical vertebra?
axis.
Axis. So axis is also atypical. Why is it atypical? What's the difference? You have a process. Do you see this process? It
Yeah.
looks like a tooth.
Yes, yes.
It's called dens or odontoid process. That's why axis is atypical.
Okay.
Then the seventh one, this is seventh. It has a big spinous process. If you bend your head down, like if you do that, then you can touch here your seventh cervical vertebra. Can you touch it?
I can't. I didn't see you.
Really? So if you touch...
Bless you.
Thank you. So if you bend your head like this, then you can touch it here.
Yeah.
This is the spinous process of C7. That's why it's called a prominence.
Yes.
Then why is it atypical?
The spinous process is taller here.
Very good. It's bigger and it's not bifurcated.
Yeah.
So be careful. It's not bifurcated.
Bifurcated. Yeah.
So this was cervical vertebrae. So 1, 2, and 7 are different. The rest look like this.
Yes.
Let's go to a thoracic vertebra. How many thoracic vertebra do we have?
12.
12 thoracic vertebra. How many ribs do we have? Pairs of ribs?
We have 12.
Yeah, very good. Why is it the same number? Because the ribs are attached to the thoracic vertebra. So no rib is attached to cervical or lumbar vertebra. The ribs are attached to thoracic, okay?
Okay.
This is thoracic vertebra. Look, what is this body? How does it look like? It's heart shaped. Do you see?
Yes.
The vertebral foramen is round.
Yes.
A spinous process, if you look at it from sides, do you see it's oblique? It goes
Yes,
downward. And it's good because first, it makes the movements easier. Second, if somebody stab you by a knife or something, it doesn't go directly to the spinal cord. It gives protection to the spinal cord.
Okay.
Okay? Here we have pedicle. Here we have lamina.
Okay.
Okay, and we have transverse process. Do we have transverse foramen?
No.
No, just in cervical vertebra. Okay, now I'm going to ask you a question. How many articular surface do we have in a thoracic vertebra? In cervical and lumbar, we have 4. 2 for the upper, 2 for lower. But for thoracic, we have ribs, which are attached to a thoracic vertebra.
8?
Then, huh?
8 or 9?
No. 9, it means it's unpaired. It should be paired, right?
Yeah.
So how many?
2, 4, 6, 12,
No, a bit less.
10.
Very good. You have 10.
Yeah.
But do you know why?
Because I saw the the articulation surface is here.
Oh, you counted.
Yeah.
But can you tell why? Like, we need 10, right?
Yes.
But how? Look, we need 4 for the upper and lower vertebra. So 2 superiorly, 2 inferiorly. This is clear, right?
Yes.
And look at here. Is it anteriorly or posteriorly? This is body. Where does it go in our body? Anteriorly or posteriorly?
Anteriorly.
Anteriorly. And this goes?
Posteriorly.
Yeah. This is superior articular surface. If you look at them, do you see here?
Yes.
It's facing, it is toward posterior. So it's facing backward and a bit laterally. So it's posteriorly and laterally.
Yes.
Look at the inferior articular surface. It's toward the body. So it's facing anteriorly and medially.
Okay.
Okay? So this is for the vertebra above, vertebra below. Now you know you have 4.
Yes.
Okay. What about the rest? Look at the head of a rib. And look at here. How many articular surface do you see on a rib?
3.
3. And if you have ribs on each side, then it means?
I need 6.
6. So
and
6 for
and,
the...
Yeah.
Huh?
6 and 4 it's 10.
Exactly. But where do these attach to? Where do these articular surfaces attach to? Look at here. Look at a vertebra. It says superior costal. Costal, it means for the rib. Inferior costal. This is also for rib.
Yes.
And here you have transverse costal. This is also for rib, right?
Yes, yes.
This transverse costal, this is for here.
For here, yeah.
This is for here,
Yes.
okay?
And
now we had the head.
Yeah.
What do you think? Does a rib, head of the rib, attach to here and here?
Yes.
One rib attached to one vertebra.
No. Yeah,
How does it?
like the we say the body we have 2 articulation surface.
Yeah,
So one on the superior one and one on the inferior one.
yeah. And is it one rib which attached to here or 2 different ribs?
We said 1 because we said we have a 12, then a 12.
Yeah, but if you imagine then the first rib has a 1 articular surface on the head,
Yeah.
the ribs come between the vertebra. Look, this is 1 rib, right?
Yes.
It's between the 2 vertebra. It means the head of the rib attached to inferior articular surface of the vertebra above and superior articular surface of the vertebra below.
It's not the opposite?
If you have a rib, do you see if one rib, head of the rib has 2 articular surface, right?
Yeah.
The head, it's not here and here. It's here and to the vertebra above because it's coming out between the ribs.
So the body we have 2 articulations. The superior one articulate with the inferior one of the first one. The inferior articulation surface of the rib articulate with the superior of the second one, right?
Yeah. So how is it? Like, how do you say? You say it's articulate with n and n minus 1. What does it mean? If this is 5th rib,
5th and 4th.
very good. So n and n minus 1.
Yeah.
Okay?
Alright.
That's why, so this is 1 vertebra, you have 2 articular surface. You have here and here. Do you see?
Yes.
So you have, which ribs are attached here?
The first one is number 1. 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is number 7.
And this is 8, right?
8, yeah.
So it's attached to minus 1.
1 and 8. Yeah, like 7 and
Yeah.
8.
Yeah. Did you understand?
Yes.
So these 2 articular surface for the head are for different ribs.
Yes.
The superior one is with the same number.
Yeah.
And this is, okay, good. And this part attached to where you have the transverse process here.
Okay.
With the same number. This is the same number as this one.
Okay.
Okay? So the head of the ribs or the ribs originate posteriorly. They originate from vertebra. They attach and they turn and come anteriorly toward the sternum.
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
Sure?
Yes.
Okay. So this was thoracic vertebra. Let's look at a lumbar vertebra. How many articular surface do we have for lumbar vertebra?
Is it 4?
Yeah, 4, because we don't have ribs, so
Yeah,
it's
we
like
don't have
cervical,
ribs.
4.
Yeah.
Look at the lumbar vertebra. This is body. Body is really big and it's kidney shape or bean shape.
Okay.
Vertebral foramen is triangular.
Yes.
The spinous process is really huge.
Okay.
It's very large. Also lateral processes.
Okay.
Okay?
Alright.
How many lumbar vertebrae do we have?
5.
5. And what is this? What do we have between vertebra? Do you see this is one vertebra, this is the other. What do you have between the vertebrae?
It's disc.
Intervertebral disc. What is disc? What is it made of?
Is it cartilage?
Yeah, fibrous cartilage.
Fibrous cartilage.
Yeah, fibrous cartilage. And what are the parts of the disc? You've learned in histo. In around you have annulus fibrosus,
yes,
and
yes.
in the middle you have nucleus pulposus.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright.
So the bones are not in contact directly. Between them, you have intervertebral discs.
Yes.
Okay. Usually, in anatomy, for example, we talk about types of connections. For example, do you see sacrum?
Yes.
It's made of 5 vertebrae which are joined together. When the bones fuse together, it's called synostosis. Ost means bone. Synostosis, yeah.
Alright.
And if it is cartilage which are joined together, how do you call it? Synchondrosis. Chondro means cartilage. And if it's ligament, syndesmosis.
Syndesmosis, okay.
Yeah. Now look at the vertebral column, or look at our body. Is the vertebral column straight or does it have curvatures?
Curvatures we have.
Yeah, they have 4 curvatures.
Yeah.
Look from posteriorly, we have 1, 2 anterior curvature, so cervical and lumbar they curve anteriorly.
Yes.
And thoracic and sacral they curve posteriorly.
Okay.
Anterior curvature, which is in cervical and lumbar, is lordosis.
So it's called lordosis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Posterior curvature is kyphosis.
Okay.
And transverse curvature is scoliosis. Like for example, when the baby starts to walk, they have transverse curvature. The curvatures are not really formed yet. It's called scoliosis.
Okay.
And in some cases, these curvatures can increase. For example, in which case the lumbar curvature can increase?
The lumbar?
Yeah. Here is deeper than normal. For example, in pregnant woman.
Okay.
What about cervical curvature? If you study a lot and your head is always down, your cervical curvature increase.
Okay.
In which people do you see thoracic curvature increase? In the old people, which cannot extend their body really well, the thoracic curvature increase. And if you look at the whole vertebral column, where do you think we have more movements? Just imagine, for example, when you dance, where can you move more?
The lumbar?
Yeah, lumbar and cervical.
Yeah.
So lumbar and cervical are more flexible and thoracic is inflexible or less flexible. But why?
In thoracic maybe because we have a lot of organs like the heart and
No, it's the bones. It's not inside.
Yeah.
Because we have ribs.
Ribs, because
ribs,
it's ribs.
they
We said
limit the movements, right?
Yeah, we said
Center.
it's cartilage. It's the cartilage. We said it's restrict the movement.
Yeah, it's because you have the ribs.
Yeah.
attached to the thoracic vertebra, so they restrict the movement.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Let's talk about joints. But which book do you have? Do you have Subuta later or Netter?
The Atlas I have Subuta, but I will bring the Netter, no problem.
Yeah, so borrow a Netter. Subuta is also really good. When we go through organs, Subuta is really good. But for the beginning, maybe you can also borrow a Netter.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, let's go to the joints.
Okay.
Joints of vertebral column. Let me find a picture. Okay. What are the joints of the vertebral column? How do the bones keep in place? Look, this is body of vertebra, right?
Yes.
And this is another body.
Okay.
What do we have between them? Intervertebral disc, which is fibrous cartilage.
Yes.
Here, around the bodies, we have hyaline cartilage. So around the body, we have hyaline cartilage, and between them, we have a disc, which is fibrous cartilage.
Okay.
Okay, so this is cartilaginous type of joint. You don't have a lot of movements here.
Okay.
So how are they able to be in place? What keep them in place?
Ligament?
You have ligaments, very good. You have one ligament, which is, do you see this is anteriorly, and where you have the processes is posteriorly. You have a ligament which is all the way from base of the skull down till sacrum, here, anterior to the body. This is called anterior longitudinal ligament.
Okay.
And posterior to the body, you have posterior longitudinal ligament.
Okay.
Okay, so it means if, like, what is this ligament? What is this?
This is the intervertebral disc.
This is intervertebral disc, yeah, but what is this ligament?
It's the anterior longitudinal ligament.
Anterior longitudinal. Where is the posterior one then?
It must be like it's here.
Where? Here?
No?
Here?
Yes.
Very good. It's behind the body. So this is posterior longitudinal ligament and keeps the bodies in place. So this is joint between bodies. Cartilaginous type of joint, and we have two ligaments, okay?
Okay.
Then we have joint between arches.
Okay.
Or where you have the articular processes. Do you remember two superior and two inferior?
Inferior, yeah.
This is synovial type of joint.
Okay.
Okay? And it's also called zygapophyseal joint.
Okay.
When it is synovial type of joint, what do you need? What surrounds the bone?
What?
But if it is synovial type of joint.
Synovial fluid?
Synovial joint.
Yes.
So what keep them in place?
Ligaments.
Yeah, but if it is synovial, you have something else also.
The fluid, the synovial fluid?
Yeah, and you also have capsule.
Yeah, capsule.
You have capsule, right?
Yeah.
So here, between articular surfaces, it says capsule of the zygapophyseal joint. So you can find it in your book later. Do you see here?
Yes.
It's covered by a capsule. Then you have some ligaments. Do you remember what are these processes posteriorly?
No.
Spinous process.
Yeah, spinous. Yeah.
These ligaments, which are above the spinous processes, these are called supraspinous ligament.
Okay.
between the spinous processes, you have interspinous ligament.
Okay.
When the supraspinous and interspinous ligament go toward the neck, they get thick, and thickening of these two ligaments in the neck, it's called ligamentum nuchae.
Okay.
Okay? You have another ligament which is between the laminas here. And in your book, you see it's yellow. Do you see this? It's between the laminas. It connects the adjacent lamina. It's called ligamentum flavum.
Okay.
If I say it's yellow, then why is it yellow? Do you remember from histology?
No.
It has elastin.
Yeah, okay.
So it gives elasticity.
Okay.
Yeah, elasticity. That's why it's yellow.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So these are the joints between vertebra. You have joint between articular surfaces, and we have joint between bodies.
Okay.
Then now let's go to the joint between vertebra and the ribs.
Like in their notes there, everything is written, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Joints.
Do you see? It says costovertebral and costotransverse joint. No? You found?
No, but no problem. I'll find it later.
Yeah, okay. So here we talked about these ligaments. Anterior longitudinal, behind you have posterior, which is inside this.
Yeah.
Here we have the ribs. Do you see?
Yes.
And we say head of the rib has attachment to the body of vertebra. This is called costovertebral joint.
Okay.
And where we had the tubercle of the rib, then we had transverse process here. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So when the head is attached to here, it's called costovertebral joint. When it's attached to the transverse process, it's called costotransverse joint.
Okay.
So you have two joints.
Yeah.
Costovertebral joint. This is also a synovial type of joint. So around the bone, it's surrounded by capsule.
Yeah.
Some ligaments, they come out from capsule. They called radiate ligament of head of the rib. They're here.
Yes.
Here.
Okay.
And then there is a ligament which connects the head of the rib to the disc. This is disc and this is the ligament.
Okay.
It's called interarticular ligament of the head of the rib, which connected to the disc.
Okay.
Okay, so this is costovertebral. Then we have costotransverse. It's between where you have the tubercle, we have the articular surface, and transverse process of the rib.
Yes.
This is also synovial joint.
Okay.
What are your ligaments here? Between the transverse processes, you have intertransverse ligament. Between, it means intertransverse ligament.
Okay.
What is the name of the joint? Costotransverse. It means between rib and the transverse process.
Okay.
So what are the other ligaments? You have superior and lateral costotransverse ligament.
Okay.
Superior one, it goes vertically, and lateral one, it goes horizontally.
Okay.
Okay? So do you have any questions so far?
No, thank you.
So what are the movements of vertebral column? Like what can you do? What kind of movement? We can do flexion, extension, rotation, right? Lateral flexion.
Yes.
Where does these movements happen? Like for example, flex your body, flex the vertebral column. What is it that you flex?
The vertebral column.
Yeah, but where? Where does this flexion happen? it happens between the bodies through the disc.
Yes.
Okay? What about, for example, a bit gliding and sliding movements? Where does that happen? It happens between the articular surfaces.
Okay.
So flexion and rotation is between bodies through disc, and gliding and sliding is through articular surfaces.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So this was the movement of vertebral column. Let's talk about movement of rib cage and thoracic wall. Have you heard about pump handle, bucket handle?
No.
No, never?
No.
Okay. So you said the ribs, they go up and down, right?
Yes.
Elevate and depress.
Hey.
Where does the movements of the rib happen? Is it here which moves, or is it here, or is it the head?
Is it on the joint, the costal?
Yeah, the movements happens around the head of the rib.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we have around axis that transverse around head and neck. There is where the movement of the rib happens.
Okay.
Okay? So here inside the rib cage there is a cavity. Can you imagine that?
Yes.
Thoracic cavity,
Yeah.
which you have all the organs inside it.
Yes.
The entrance of this cavity is called superior thoracic aperture or thoracic inlet here.
Okay.
And the exit is called inferior thoracic aperture or thoracic outlet.
Okay.
Okay, what are the borders of entrance here? What do you have posteriorly?
Vertebral, the body.
Which vertebra?
The cervical one.
Cervical has no rib attached to it.
Yeah. One, the first, the thoracic. Sorry.
First thoracic,
Yeah.
don't forget.
Yeah.
T1.
T1.
What do you have laterally?
The ribs, the body of ribs.
This is rib. Which rib?
The thoracic.
Yeah, it's the first
Yeah,
rib.
T1.
It's T1 is thoracic vertebra. You say first rib.
Yeah, first rib.
Yeah. And you also have clavicle, which is not shown here.
Yeah. Okay.
And first rib is under the clavicle,
Yeah.
so you cannot palpate it. If they want to count the ribs, they start counting from second rib, which is start from angle of Lewis.
Okay.
Okay, what do you have anteriorly? You have manubrium of sternum. So inside this is inlet.
Okay.
What about outlet? What do you have posteriorly? Which T?
It is T7.
T12, the
T12.
last one.
Yeah, T12. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you have anterolaterally? It means here.
The sternocostal, the costal joints.
So it's called costal arch.
Costal arch. Yes.
Yeah. What do you have posterolaterally? Which ribs are these?
11 and 10, 11,
Very
12.
good. 11 and 12.
Yeah, 11
10
and 12.
is has
Yeah.
11 and 12
12.
are floating. Okay.
Yeah.
So inside this cavity, thoracic cavity, the diameters can change, as you said.
Yes.
If you draw a line from sternum toward the vertebra, this is anterior posterior diameter.
Yes.
If you draw a line from this side of rib to the other side, this is transverse diameter.
Okay.
And if you draw a line from inlet to the outlet, this is vertical diameter. So we have 3.
Okay.
And this 3 can change the movement, the pressure of the thoracic cavity and cause respiration, right?
Right.
We have 2 terms, pump handle and bucket handle, which is very important.
Okay.
Pump handle, it's because of the movements of upper ribs, the upper 2 to 6 ribs. If you look at the head of them, the head is convex.
Yes.
And then rotation around the axis of this, it causes elevation of external end of the ribs. It causes elevation of this. And it's push the sternum forward.
Okay.
Okay? So movement of the head of ribs 2 to 6. It causes elevation and depression of end of the ribs here. It can also push the sternum forward. What does happen if the sternum comes a bit forward? So the anterior posterior diameter change.
Yes.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah? So this is called pump handle.
Pump handle, okay.
Yeah. Then the rib from 7 to 10. So that was 2 to 6, 7 to 10, the inferior ribs. If you look at the head of them is flat, and the elevation, and it causes a bit gliding.
Yes.
Okay? What does happens? It changes the transverse plane.
Okay.
So this is bucket handle.
Okay.
You know, I show you something just to make it like more understandable a bit. Do you see me?
Yes.
If you push your hand here, like in the upper ribs,
Yeah.
you breathe, the sternum comes forward.
Okay.
Okay? So the anterior posterior diameter change, this is pump handle.
Okay.
If you put your hand more downward where you have the lower ribs, these ribs,
Yeah.
when you breathe, it goes a bit like that.
Okay.
I mean, you don't really feel it, just for you to like understand,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
It goes like that.
Okay.
So this is bucket handle.
Bucket handle.
Yeah?
Alright.
What about the last one? The last one, we said we have something which is called diaphragm. Where is diaphragm?
So we said around
It's between thorax and abdomen. It's here, inside the cavity, right?
Inside the cavity, yeah.
When you breathe, diaphragm goes down.
Downward.
Yeah, it goes down.
Yeah.
What happens? The vertical diameter
Increases.
increase. Yeah, very good. This is how.
Bless you.
Thank you. The pressure decrease and the air can go to the lung, right? This is the mechanism of respiration.
Yes.
So you have to know how these three diameters change.
Alright.
Anterior, posterior with upper ribs, which is pump handle. Transverse is bucket handle with lower ribs, and the vertical is true diaphragm.
Alright.
Clear?
Alright. Yes.
Good. We're done with the bones.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Ask me if you have.
No, I don't have.
Sure?
Yeah.
So next time I ask you everything. All the muscles, okay?
Okay.
Okay, let's go to the muscles then. And there are some things I give you as a homework, okay?
Okay.
So you have to do it yourself and then I ask you.
Okay.
Okay. So this is thoracic wall. We're done with the bones. We're going to do the muscles. What is this bone?
Clavicle.
Yeah, what is this?
Sternum.
Good. We divide the muscles into two groups. We say axio-appendicular muscles or thoraco-appendicular muscles, which you have learned in upper limb. The second group are new. They're called muscles of thoracic wall.
Okay.
Let's do the first group first. Axio-appendicular. What does that mean? It means these muscles connect the upper limb to the thoracic wall.
Okay.
One of them is this one. What is it?
Pectoralis major.
Very good. Pectoralis major. What do you have under this?
Pectoralis minor.
Yeah, and what is this muscle here?
Serratus anterior.
Very good. And what is here, which goes a bit posteriorly?
Serratus posterior.
No. It's latissimus dorsi.
Latissimus dorsi. Yeah, latissimus dorsi.
So we have pectoralis major, pectoralis minor, serratus anterior, and latissimus dorsi. Let me find pectoralis minor. One more is left. What is that?
What?
You have one more muscle. Subclavius.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
No.
It's under the clavicle.
Yeah.
Wait, here. Okay. So here, pectoralis major is cut. Okay. What is this?
Pectoralis minor.
Yeah, what is this?
The
Serratus anterior.
Yeah, this serratus anterior.
This is latissimus
Small
dorsi,
dorsal.
and you see this small muscle on the clavicle.
Yes,
This is subclavius muscle.
yes, yes.
Okay, what is your homework? Write it down now. You have to go through origin, insertion, and innervation of these muscles.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
And if it was any problem, just let me know.
Okay.
Because you've learned them also in upper limb, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to the second group, muscles of thoracic wall. These muscles, the first group, origin, insertion, innervation, and function.
Yeah.
The second group here, they're muscles of thoracic wall. They're between ribs.
Okay.
They're attached, for example, to the rib, and they do something with the rib. They either elevate the rib or depress the rib.
Okay.
So what do? They're muscles of respiration. They help you in the respiration.
Okay.
Okay? The first group of muscles they call intercostal muscles. What does intercostal mean?
Between.
Very good, between the ribs. And there are three groups: external intercostal, middle intercostal, and innermost. External, internal, and innermost.
Yes.
Okay? External ones are this one. It's the first layer which you see.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you origin, insertion, and how the fibers run. Okay?
Okay.
These muscles start from, I'm talking about external intercostal, okay?
Okay.
They start from posteriorly. Do you remember the tubercle of the rib?
Yes.
They start posteriorly from tubercle of the rib and come anteriorly till here. Till costo.
Okay.
What is it?
Costal cartilage.
Costochondral cartilage is chondral joint till here.
Yeah, joint. Yeah.
So they come from posterior, which is tubercle of the rib, till costochondral joint till here.
Okay.
After this, they continue as a membrane. So there would be no external intercostal muscle after this joint. There's just their membrane.
Okay.
Okay, and how do the fibers run? Look, this is origin and insertion. If they are two ribs, do you see my hand?
Yes.
They origin from inferior surface of upper rib
Okay.
and insert to superior surface of lower rib.
Okay.
So the fibers go inferiorly.
Okay.
And they're coming from back anteriorly. They're coming from tubercle to the front, right?
Yes.
It's called hand pocket. They go like that.
Okay.
They go forward and inferiorly.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They go downward or inferior anteriorly. It's called hand pocket. So inferiorly and from back to anterior.
Okay.
This is external intercostal.
All right.
Let's do the second group, which are called internal intercostal muscles.
Okay.
These fibers of these muscles also go downward. It means from lower surface of upper rib to the upper surface of lower rib. So they go downward.
Okay.
Okay? But what is the difference? They start from here, from floor of costal groove, so from beginning,
Okay.
of the rib, and they go backward till angle of the ribs.
Okay.
And after the angle till the head, they continue as a membrane.
Okay.
So it means the fibers of these muscles, they go backward.
Backward. The
Yeah.
opposite.
So-
The opposite.
Exactly. So if you look at my hand, the first one was like this. It
Yeah.
comes forward and downward.
Yes.
The second one is again downward, but it's
the opposite directions from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do the fibers cross each other?
Cross like.
So downward and forward and downward and backward.
Backward.
Yeah. How do the fibers cross each other? 90 degree.
Okay, 90 degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
External intercostal muscle, they help inspiration.
Okay.
And internal one, they help expiration.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna ask you a question. What is this muscle? This.
This one?
Yeah.
Intercostal.
Which one? External or internal?
External. No, this one is the internal.
Why?
Because we said the external has membrane here.
Very good. The external stops here and
Yeah.
continue as a membrane.
Yes.
The next layer, internal, starts from here. So this is internal.
Yes,
But
yes.
this is
External.
very good. Okay. Now what are we gonna do? We'll cut the rib cage and look from inside. Okay?
Okay, so we can see the middle one.
We don't have middle. We have innermost.
Innermost.
Yeah. Okay. This is what they also do in the practice. They cut it, right? And you're able to see from other side.
Okay.
Okay. So what is this muscle?
The transverse abdominal muscles.
No.
The diaphragm.
This is diaphragm,
Yeah, diaphragm,
right?
yeah.
This is diaphragm. Okay. So what is this then? What is this?
The
Very good. This is internal intercostal. So you see external from here. And if you turn it back, here you have
yeah.
internal intercostal. There is another muscle which is part of internal, okay?
Okay.
And you can see just on size. Do you see here?
Yes.
So this is called innermost intercostal.
Okay.
These ones. Do you remember we said what do we have in costal groove? We said we have blood vessels,
blood vessels.
vein, artery, nerve. They're called intercostal vein, artery, nerve. We talk in the next lesson. Where do you get these from?
Okay.
These nerves, this vein, it run between internal intercostal and innermost intercostal.
Okay.
So if you see these, then you see the one which is outer.
Okay.
This is anterior internal, and the one which is deeper is innermost.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
If you look from here, do you see vein? No.
No.
You don't see them because they run between internal and inner. So you see from inside.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're intercostal muscles.
Okay.
You also have to know origin, insertion, and how the function run, how the fibers run.
Okay.
Okay, what I told you. Then we have some muscles which you see from inside. You don't see from outside either. You see from inside. Transverse muscles. Yeah?
Yeah.
Transverse thoracic muscle. Where do they origin from? This is sternum. Do you see?
Yes.
It's from inside of a sternum, so you see lower part of inside or internal surface of a sternum,
Yes.
and they insert into the costal cartilages.
Okay.
What do? If you look at them, they attach to the lower border of the ribs. Do you see?
Yes.
So they depress the ribs.
Yeah, they depress, yeah.
They depress the ribs, okay? So these are the muscles which you can see in the wall. You also have other muscles which are attached to the ribs. Have you heard about serratus posterior?
No, but I
No?
heard that, no.
So, you know, in the back, it means where you have the vertebra. Do you see on the back?
Yes.
It's not in the cavity, it's out.
Yeah.
If you remove all the muscles, like trapezius, all the muscles on the back,
Yes.
so this is deep, it's theory. You're not able to see because it's really deep.
Yes.
You see two groups of muscles. One, these are called serratus posterior. This is serratus posterior superior, and this is serratus posterior inferior.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
If you look at the superior one, it comes from the upper T vertebra and insert into, look,
Superior of the rib.
yeah, upper surface of upper ribs. Do you see? It's
Yeah,
upper
yeah.
surface.
So it's
it
elevate the ribs.
elevates these ribs.
Yeah, all right.
Right? If you look at the inferior one, it's from T and L vertebra and insert to lower ribs, but look, inferior surface of lower ribs. So what does it do?
Depress.
Very good. It depresses the ribs, right?
Right.
So this is theory. You have another muscle. It is also deep.
Okay.
Deeper than serratus posterior, but it's also posteriorly. It's a bit blurry, but do you see these muscles between ribs?
Yes.
This is called levator costarum.
Okay.
It's telling you, what does it do? Levator
Yeah, elevate.
costarum, elevate the ribs, yeah. So these muscles. These two are theory, and where do you find them? They're on the back. Do you understand what I mean by the back?
Yeah, like deeper to trapezius.
Yeah, deep.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have another muscle
Subcostal.
which is also attached to the ribs. I show you, you tell me where it is. Like, can you understand where this is? Like, where is this?
Which one? Which one?
This picture, like, where are we looking?
This at the innermost, like, you know, and we get into the rib cage, like the inlet.
Yeah, very good. So it's inside the cavity. I'll turn the camera in a bit and show you. So if it is, what are these muscles then?
This is the internal.
Very good. Internal intercostal.
Yeah.
And you see the vein, you see the nerve. So
Nerve.
this is innermost, because
yeah.
the nerve go between internal and innermost. Here you have some muscles which is called subcostal. Do you see?
Yes.
They help us in expiration.
Okay.
Okay, subcostal muscles. Now I turn my camera and show you some differences, like differences between muscles. You can also turn your camera. So you see, we talked about different groups of muscles. Okay. So now I'm gonna make it clear where they are. Just imagine this is cadaver.
Okay.
It's lying on the back. So here is on the back, like
Yeah,
this. Okay? What is this? It's a rib cage.
Okay.
And here you have the organs. Here you see external intercostal. If you take this rib cage, look from inside, you see internal intercostal, innermost and transverse thoracic.
Okay.
We're done with this. Now you have the organ.
Yes.
If you take the organs out, you see anterior surface of vertebra. It means body of vertebra here.
Yes.
Which muscles do you see? Between the ribs, you see internal intercostal, and innermost, you also see subcostal muscles.
Okay.
This is this. Now, if you look here,
Okay.
here,
Yeah.
you cut all the muscles and you reach deep. So it's not in the cavity,
Yeah,
it's on the other
serratus posterior.
side. Deep? Yeah, so that's why it's theory. They don't cut it. You see serratus posterior, which has superior and inferior, and deeper to that you have levator costarum.
Yes.
So they were in different positions, and all of them, they either elevate or they press the ribs and do something with respiration, right?
All right.
Okay, good. We're done with the bones and muscles. If you're tired, we can stop. I stopped here for all of the groups, so it's fine if you also want to stop. Next lesson, we do the fascias, blood vessels, nerves, breast, and some lymphatic drainage. Then we're done with the chest.
Okay.
Everything is done, okay?
Okay.
Then we go to mediastinum. Do you know what is mediastinum?
Yeah, I read it from the book, like from the model. Yeah.
So we go through mediastinum, which we cover all the arteries in thoracic cavity, all the veins in the cavity. You shouldn't mix it with the valve.
All right.
And all the nerves. Then we have heart and lung, which we go through.
Okay, like when's the next class?
So let's do it, because you're medics, let's do like quick.
Yeah, because my exam in Tuesday, not next Tuesday, the next Tuesday.
Yeah, but because you're medics, so you should do it quickly. Then you know more staff can be able to check it in the practice. Otherwise, the lesson is not useful, you know? So do you want to have Friday?
Okay, but at what time Friday? Because, you know, I'm taking with Amir, my class with Amir from 9 till 2. It's gonna be so long. So I prefer...
9 in the morning?
Yeah.
So we can do in the afternoon, like 5?
6. Let's do
6? Okay, 6.
Okay.
And then you can have a class Saturday.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Okay, so like 12 to 2. Or 8 to 10 in the morning.
9 to 11, is it okay?
No, I'm full 10 to 12, so it should be either 8 to 10 or 12 to 2.
You know why? Because me and Omar, we have a class with Russell. That's why.
What time?
It's from 3 to 5. So you have a 12 to 2?
Yeah.
I'll take 12 to 2.
No, 12 to 2, okay. Okay.
Okay.
So your next class is Friday 6 to 8 and then Saturday 12 to 2.
Okay.
Okay, good. And so do you want to continue?
I can continue, I don't mind. Like I have
I
30
mean, like,
minds.
Because I usually give the first lesson, and if you don't want to continue, it's okay. It's
No,
for free.
I'm okay, but like, you know, they put like makeup at 6, so I have hour and a half. Like I can continue.
No. I mean, continue with me, like later.
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I also send you, you know, like if it is too much, I charge one person 130 for the whole thorax, abdomen, pelvis.
Okay.
If you're 2 is 160, so it means 80 each. And if you're 3 is 180. It means 60 each.
Wait, you mean like if I'm alone 130?
Yeah. If you're 2,
Yeah.
160, it means 80 each.
Okay.
If you're 380, it means 60 each.
Listen, I don't know, like I think someone, Omar called you. Not Omar Ismail, the other Omar, I don't know.
Yeah. So he wanna join you?
But for me, like, I'm not used to take classes with him, you know? Like, I'm fast one, like he needs someone slow, so I can't take with him. If I
for
want...
example, you know the other Omar?
Yeah, Omar.
Like, he get it like that.
Yeah.
If he asks me, like, I say, take it alone, because it goes quicker for you. Then you need less lesson, like in line time.
For me, I don't care, like... I will take it alone.
I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, so for me, it's better to take
if
alone.
it is too much, so you can join another one to your group.
No, I think I'll take it alone.
Take it alone? Okay, so I'll send you the, like...
your passport, the name,
yeah, the bank information, then you can send the money till Friday.
Okay.
Is it okay?
So you need, you within 2 days?
Like till Friday. If you do it till Monday, is also fine.
Like, I'm not gonna send it from here. I'm gonna let my father send it. Is it okay for you?
Yeah. But do you know when can he do that?
I'll call him like today, or like today I'll call him, but I don't know, either tomorrow or Sunday.
Okay, it's fine.
Because you know
Yeah, it's
he's in UAE, so Friday and Saturday they are off.
yeah, it's okay. I know Omar, and I know you're Omar's friend, so it's fine. But yeah, so study hard. Know this material till Friday. You know, it wasn't a lot. Just have a look if you get time today, and then I see you on Friday. And
Okay.
have your atlas with.
Okay, but I want to ask you, like 130, like he gonna send it from UAE. Like tell me, like in dollars and euros, how much, so it's better for me.
No. So what do you want me to tell you? In euros or in dollar?
Anything. Which one is better for you? I don't mind. It's the same for me.
So can he do it in Danish krone?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's it's only the bank. You can
Okay,
just tell
so
the
yeah.
bank.
So I change it to Danish crown
Yeah.
and tell you in crown.
Okay.
Or maybe in euro.
Okay, no problem. I
I
don't
say
mind.
in euro. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll send it like in a while or till tonight.
Okay,
Maybe
no
not
problem.
now, like late night. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Study well. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.